sports news, well, he was at Manchester United's first major signing of the post-Sir Alex Ferguson era, of course, but has Marouane Fellaini's Old Trafford career come to an end tonight? The very latest on a move to China on the way.
And we'll also hear from a passionate Mauricio Pochettino who compares Tottenham to Real Madrid and ensures fans he'll stick with the club for the long term.
I think we are so close. If you want that Tottenham one day will be in the same level of Real Madrid. I am very positive people and I'm going to try to deliver in my show. And I'm going to stick with the club until to the end.
And Jurgen Klopp responds to Pochettino's comments that the top four is more important than trophies and says that attitude wouldn't cut it at Liverpool.
In a club like Liverpool, and we always have to go for everything.
More from Klopp later. First to a defiant Mauricio Pochettino, who insists that he's staying at Tottenham until the end of the club's long-term project. Pochettino stands by the comments that Tottenham do not need to win a trophy to match, to reach the next level, and he believes that they are close to being on a par right now with Real Madrid.
I think we are so close. We need to try, keep working. The fans that are not happy, of course, with perspective, and in the future they are going to appreciate the job that everyone is doing. If you are in Real Madrid, only you think in win trophies. That is not another point. In Tottenham, when we arrived here for a year and a half, was a complete different challenge for the club. And to build that quality or that philosophy is tough. If you want that Tottenham one day will be in the same level of Real Madrid. But that is, I think, is the most important. The bigger picture is that we are going to have an amazing stadium, one of the best stadiums in the world. When you go back, I promise you, we are a very successful group of people working for a company that need us to do the job that we are doing, delivering. And what I can say about the player, because we lose in penalty against Chelsea. Why? For me are heroes. And I told them, for me are heroes. And because we lose after 3 days, when Crystal Palace prepared the whole week clear. And I'm not going to complain. I'm going to translate the reality. You want to get the reality. The fans want to get the reality. The other people want to give their opinion about us from outside. Perfectly. I am more than happy. I am very positive people, and I'm going to try to deliver in my show. And I'm going to stick with the club until to the end, trying to help the club to achieve all that the club wants.
It's interesting because Jurgen Klopp has responded to Pochettino's comments there. That finishing in the top four is more important than actually winning trophies. And he says that that attitude, quite simply, would not be acceptable at a club like Liverpool.
We need money for improving a football team. We cannot change that. It's not the only way, but it's a big thing. And especially if a team is developing really well and you want to keep the players, the squad will not be cheaper the year after that. So that's the truth. And I know that people probably didn't like what Poch said in these moments, but it's so easy always from outside looking at that, and it's from a club point of view. The best competition to win is the Premier League, because then you're in the top four and you have a big, you want a big thing. But with all the other cup competitions, you want to win them as well, of course. But on the other hand side, they don't guarantee you the money for the next year. So that's why top four is so important. If you would ask, you should ask the owners much more about that, what they think, and they would probably say, yes, it's really important. And if I know for the supporters it's different, because they want to have silverware or whatever, but on the other hand side, you win 1 year silverware, and next year you are 8th in the table, nobody likes that as well, and then nobody talks about the silverware from last year. So, and give you any time to try it again or whatever. That's the situation. So I understand 100% what Poch said. That's but in a club like Liverpool, and we always have to go for everything.
But the question remains tonight, what about Tottenham's transfer plans with just over 2 days of this window remaining? Despite telling us last week that Tottenham were working on deals, Pochettino isn't optimistic the club's going to sign anyone this window.
You know how we work. In the last minute can happen. Everything can happen. And of course, about different players that maybe they will have the opportunity to leave the club, we are going to see. Of course, it's not too much time. And of course, a few days ago, I was very optimistic about some option to sign, realistic option to sign, but today, no, I am not optimistic.
At all? Not optimistic at all?
No.
Let's bring you some more transfer news now. We're going to get to the future of Marouane Fellaini. Very interesting regarding him. That's come up in just a moment for you. But first, has Maurizio Sarri now drawn a line under the Callum Hudson-Odoi transfer saga, which has rumbled on? Dharmesh Sheth, you're the man with the answers on this. What is the latest?
Julian, I think we can call this one a saga, and it's dominated the transfer window throughout January, hasn't it? And it looks like it's going to continue into the summer. Now, Chelsea boss Maurizio Sarri spoke at length about Callum Hudson-Odoi at his news conference this afternoon. The conclusion, Callum Hudson-Odoi stays at Chelsea in this transfer window, and he'll probably be staying at Chelsea in the next window as well. But that's amid 4 bids from Bayern Munich, the latest of which was £35 million. It's amid a rejected contract offer worth £85,000 a week from Chelsea to Odoi, and amid a rejected transfer request. Make no mistake, this is a crucial time because Hudson-Odoi has entered the final 18 months of his Chelsea deal, and Sarri and Chelsea are desperate to keep him.
On the pitch, I am really very happy with him, and I know the club told me that in this window, market window, he will remain with us for sure, and very probably also in the next. So I am really very happy with this because, as I said before, on the pitch, I am really very happy with him. He is improving, and I think that he will be the future of our club. He will be the future of the English football. I am not frustrated because, as I said before, on the pitch, he is doing very well in trainings, very well in matches, and so I am really very happy with him, and I am not really very happy with the situation. Of course, I cannot do anything, as you know very well, because if I have the power to sign a new contract, I can do everything. But in my condition, I cannot do anything. It's impossible to promise him that he will play every match, because it depends on the situation, and so I cannot do anything.
Well, let's just break this down then, Dharmesh. You've got Chelsea who want him to sign a new contract. You've got Bayern Munich who want to sign him. You've got the player. Who's in the box seat?
You'd have to say, in a way, that Hudson-Odoi holds the cards here, and to a lesser extent, perhaps Bayern Munich. They're not in a bad position either. Let's rewind to when Bayern Munich made their interest public in Callum Hudson-Odoi. Chelsea, you'd notice, embarked on something of a charm offensive about Hudson-Odoi. Sarri said he was as important as Pedro. He was as important as Willian. However, he still hasn't started him in a Premier League game. He did score on Sunday in the FA Cup victory over Sheffield Wednesday, with the fans singing, "We want you to stay." And I think Chelsea's stance and Sarri's comments could partly be viewed as saving face. It's one way of looking at it. They can't be seen to let Callum Hudson-Odoi leave in this transfer window. And I think they'll use the next 4 or 5 months to try and convince him that Stamford Bridge is actually the place for him.
And how do they go about doing that then?
This is it. Regular football, one way, starting in the Premier League as well, and perhaps an even bigger contract offer seems to be the only option. But lurking in the background are Bayern Munich. They are confident of signing him, and that confidence has been backed up by the belief that Hudson-Odoi actually wants to go to Bayern Munich. They are looking for long-term replacements, remember, for Franck Ribéry and Arjen Robben, who've dominated that squad for the past decade. Interestingly, both Ribéry and Robben are out of contract in the summer. So, despite Sarri's bullish stance, it seems, he knows how hard it will be to keep Callum Hudson-Odoi at Chelsea Football Club.
I know very well that every big teams here in England has the same problem. it's not easy to keep these young players. He's of course one of the best 18 years old player in Europe, and so it's very, very, very difficult.
Yeah, interesting thoughts there from the Chelsea head coach Maurizio Sarri. The saga may be over for this month, but brace yourselves for part 2 when the transfer window reopens this summer.
It's not going away, is it? Dharmesh, thanks very much indeed. Of course, such a young talent, Hudson-Odoi, who won the Under-17 World Cup with England, that 5-2 win over Spain in 2017. Let's just look at what happened to those players since they won that tournament. Phil Foden, as we know, has gone on to play first-team football for Manchester City, playing 8 games this season. Morgan Gibbs-White made his Premier League debut for Wolves in December and is certainly regarded as a hot prospect too.
So Chelsea hanging on to Hudson-Odoi for now. What about the midfielder, Danny Drinkwater? Remember him? He hasn't featured at all since the Community Shield in August. He's got 3.5 years left on his contract, and it seems the club are welcoming offers.
He's at the moment with us, as you know very well, because I told you my opinion about this player. He's a very good player, but I think that he is more suitable for playing with the 2 midfielders. Because he's not a central midfielder, he's not a central right in the midfield with 3 players. But he is a very good player in a 4-4-2. He is a very good player.
So those are the thoughts of Maurizio Sarri on Danny Drinkwater. But Sarri, he couldn't give an update, really, on defender Gary Cahill. Cahill is, of course, out of contract in the summer, unavailable to move. Fulham had agreed a deal with Chelsea, but couldn't agree a deal with Cahill. Now, a move for Cahill could still happen on deadline day, maybe not to Fulham, maybe somewhere else. If not, he will be a free agent come June. Now, one man in limbo at Chelsea is the striker Michy Batshuayi. His loan deal at Valencia was effectively cut short and a loan move to Monaco was blocked because Chelsea want to do a permanent transfer. Now, the Belgium international is under contract at Chelsea until next summer. Now, as for arrivals at Chelsea, they held talks this month with Zenit St. Petersburg and Cagliari over the midfielders Leandro Paredes and Nicolo Barella. Paredes has now completed a move to Paris Saint-Germain, and there were reservations at Chelsea over spending upwards of £40 million on a player who would effectively be backup for Jorginho. That said, Sarri is still in the market.
I thought that for us was important to have 2 players. One is arrived, and I am waiting for the other. But if he will arrive, I will be very happy. Otherwise, I have to work with these players. It's not a big problem for me.
Yeah, it could still be a busy few days in this transfer window for Chelsea. Now, yesterday, the Manchester United caretaker manager Ole Gunnar Solskjaer said there were unlikely to be any departures in this transfer window. Could that be about to change? We're told they're in talks with a Chinese club reported to be Shandong Luneng over the sale of Marouane Fellaini. The Belgian midfielder has played just 3 minutes of Premier League football under Solskjaer. He was David Moyes' first signing at Old Trafford 5.5 years ago. Interestingly, when Solskjaer was asked about an over-reliance on Nemanja Matic and Ander Herrera in midfield, he talked up Fred, Scott McTominay and Andreas Pereira, but no mention of Fellaini.
Now, Unai Emery is hoping to bring in a winger before Thursday's 11 p.m. deadline. Let's get to the Emirates right now and get an update on this. Arsenal fans want to know what he's doing, what he's not doing. We understand Arsenal Geraint. Good evening to you, mate. Working on deals to sign Denis Suarez from Barcelona and Ivan Perisic, who's a real player from Inter Milan. So what do we think? What's the latest?
Jim, let's give you a little update with regards to Suarez, because a little bit of movement on there, and it's actually come from the Barcelona end, from the head coach Ernesto Valverde. who this evening has said that Suarez is on the verge of signing for Arsenal. We understand that is on loan. That is the expectation. If any of these two deals you mentioned just there happen, that they will be loan deals. So really interesting that coming out of Spain, coming out of Barcelona, that Valverde himself is saying that he is on the verge for signing. We knew that negotiations were in an advanced stage, but to actually hear that from a head coach, considering I think that Barcelona, their preference would be that Suarez is signed on a permanent deal, but it looks as if that one is edging ever closer with the hours and the days we've got left in the transfer window on that one. Ivan Perisic, interesting words as well from the Inter end as well. Beppe Morata saying that, very much aware that Perisic wants to move away. But key, as far as what Morata has said today to our colleagues in Italy, is that there's no been official contact either between Arsenal and between Inter. So we don't quite know at this moment in time exactly where that potential loan could go there. But I think as far as Denis Suarez has gone, it looks like that one is heading in the right direction as far as the Arsenal fans are concerned.
OK, bit to go about Perisic. Or so it sounds. Geraint, let's get to this evening's game. What we do know is it's going to be a very emotional evening because Cardiff City are visiting the Emirates. A game against Arsenal is their first since a plane carrying Emiliano Sala and his pilot went missing and still is missing. So what are the plans tonight, Geraint?
Yeah, I think first things first, I've just met up with some of the officials from Cardiff City. Just going to quickly show you this. This is the daffodil that all the players and staff of Cardiff City are going to be wearing this evening. All the staff that are here at the ground tonight, and the players and the management when they travel to the ground. This little symbol obviously means a lot to people who are Welsh. I can tell you a daffodil, but this means an awful lot to Cardiff City this evening as well. Also going to show you as well the programme, the Arsenal programme. This is the back of the Arsenal programme. And my cameraman Joe is going to try and show you the name right at the bottom on the left-hand side. I'm going to try not to get my fingers in the way. But that is Emiliano Sala's name. Arsenal has a nice touch. Cardiff didn't know about this, but they're very, very touched by this. Arsenal have printed the matchday programme with Emiliano Sala as part of the Cardiff squad. You can see there the Argentinian flag and a little yellow daffodil next to where his squad number would have been. So that's really touched Cardiff City, I can tell you. I've just seen a couple of their officials in the last sort of 15 minutes or so, and they didn't know anything about that, and they're quite taken with that one. As far as anything else that's going to happen here this evening, we've got some pictures to show you now of a banner that has been made by a number of the fans that are on their way to the Emirates this evening. Obviously, they've made the journey down the M4, a banner which they're going to unfurl during the game to show their tribute, their respect to Emiliano Sala as well. I think it was summed up last week by a Cardiff fan that said, once a Bluebird, always a Bluebird, no matter that we didn't see you play. So that will be unfurled by the fans that have had this banner made, which is going to be already inside the Emirates Stadium. As far as the players themselves and their match kit, they will not be wearing the yellow daffodil that I showed you a moment ago, nor will they be wearing black armbands. That is at the request of Emiliano Sala's family. They do not want black armbands being worn tonight. However, the players, the captain of Cardiff, he will lay a bunch of daffodils on the pitch prior to kick-off. The Arsenal captain will lay a bunch of yellow tulips prior to kick-off as well, during a moment's reflection, which the Arsenal manager Unai Emery refers to in his programme notes today as well. He knew of Emiliano Sala, and his last paragraph is just very, very touching words toward Cardiff City. And for everyone here in the Emirates tonight to share that moment of reflection. Think hard, pray hard for Emiliano Sala as well. Just a quick update with regard to the family, because they were invited to the Emirates here this evening by Cardiff City last week, and that invite was reiterated yesterday. It is my understanding from club officials now that they will not be at the ground tonight. They've remained in the Channel Islands. Of course, they're pursuing this private search due to all that money that's been raised by crowdfunding efforts. But it's my understanding from Cardiff City they will not be at the Emirates this evening. That's interesting, Geraint. I spoke to Mehmet Dalman, the chairman of Cardiff, this morning. At that stage, he wasn't too sure. Very nice touch with the match programme as well, Geraint. Thanks for that. What about the traumatic events of the last 8 days, Geraint? How will they impact, if you like, on Warnock's team selection tonight? If believe what Neil Warnock said yesterday, I think you have to. The man was shattered. yesterday, he gave an insight as to how difficult it's been for Cardiff this week to concentrate. A number of players he thought would be fine weren't fine, and they got some outside counsellors to come and have a chat with them to help them through, to try and understand what has been going on the last week. So Warnock's priority was maybe not to get the 11 best players out on this pitch, but to get the 11 best players who could mentally survive the 90 minutes. And that is the team selection we expect from Neil Warnock tonight. We don't know quite yet who he's going to go with, but it's going to be players that he believes that can get through the game, do the job for Cardiff tonight, and be mentally strong, given the fact that he's alluded to that a number of them are struggling and are still struggling. Because I asked him an outright question yesterday, Jim, in an ideal world, there is no ideal world, but in an ideal world, would you want to be playing this game? And he said, no, I don't want to play this game, and I don't want to play a game for the rest of the season.
Geraint at the Emirates, thanks for that.
Right, let's bring you some breaking news, and it's regarding England rugby, and they have injury problems. Not ideal ahead of their opening Six Nations match, which is away in Ireland this weekend. Let's go live to Gail Davis now, who's in Portugal, where they are based until Thursday. Gail, good evening to you. Eddie Jones has now named his 25-man squad to travel to Dublin. Who misses out then?
Yeah, very good evening from Portugal. Who misses out? Well, it's quite a big blow for England. 3 players, Brad Shields, Joe Thockiner-Singer and Ben Teo, all ruled out for their opening Six Nations game against Ireland. In the case of Shields and Thockiner-Singer, it was always going to be a little bit of a race against time to get them fit. But in case of Teo, this is a fresh injury blow. He's picked up a side strain in training this week. What it means, though, is there is a space in England's midfield, and just maybe Manu Tuilagi could fill that. If he is named on Thursday as a centre, it will be his first test start for England since June 2014. We saw him training this morning. He had his hat and his coat on, getting ready, I think, for the Dublin conditions. We saw him for England come on 68 minutes against Australia at the end of the autumn. But after all those serious injuries, knee, chest, thigh and groin, he's ready, if asked, to go out in Dublin on Saturday for England.
Yeah, I think he's ready to go. You know, he's been in great form for his club, Leicester. He was great with us over the autumn leading up into the internationals, and obviously when he came on, you know, got an unbelievable response from Twickenham. The players couldn't be more excited to have him back. You know, he's a great bloke who's worked unbelievably hard. He's been on a tough path, so yeah, it'd be brilliant, you know, for Manu to get back involved if selected.
Yeah, it's been a while, but feeling good and looking forward to it. You know, we've got a massive task ahead of us, but we're preparing well and looking forward to the weekend.
Well, he says he's better than he was in 2012. Who can ever forget that performance against the All Blacks? So perhaps one person's injury opens the door to the man who spent so long on the sidelines. In terms of who might come in for Brad Shields alongside, we expect Billy Vunipola and Tom Curry in that back row. Well, it looks to be between Mark Wilson, who played at 6, 7 and 8 for England. In fact, he played every minute of every game for England. And then there's the option of Courtney Laws. He can play in the second row, but he's played very well. And John Mitchell talked about how destructive he's been for Northampton in that back row. So that's another option at 6. Elsewhere in the squad, it was interesting to see the name Mike Brown there. He missed all 4 games in the autumn as Elliot Daly got a run at fullback. Played on the wing against South Africa in the summer. England are expecting this aerial bombardment. You've probably been hearing about it all week. The conditions aren't going to be great. That's a key area of their game plan. It's also a skill that Mike Brown has. He's superb under the high ball. So he's been retained, and we will wait and see if he's named at 15 when Eddie Jones names his squad on Thursday for that opening game in Dublin on Saturday afternoon.
Gail Davis, thank you very much indeed.
Well, now, still to come on Sky Sports News, we're going to be building up to a big night in the Premier League, and we're also going to hear from this man who has a few injury concerns to contend with.
Virgil Van Dyke, Dejan Lovren, Trent, Joe Gomez, Ronaldo.
We start with who?
Vitality Netball Super League champions.
Britain's got a new golfing star, Georgia Hall, major champion.
Music played and people sang, just for me the church bells rang.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's Katie Taylor!
Bang, bang, he shot me down, bang, bang. I hit the ground, bang, bang. That awful sound, bang, bang. My baby shot me down. Shot you down, bang, bang. You hit the ground, bang, bang. That awful sound, bang, bang. I used to shoot you down.
Wasps are your Vitality Netball Super League champions.
Britain's got a new golfing star, Georgia Hall, major champion.
Music played and people sang, just for me the church bells rang.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's Katie Taylor!
Bang, bang, he shot me down, bang, bang. I hit the ground, bang, bang. That awful sound, bang, bang. My baby shot me down. Shot me down, 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 down.
Premier League title race now, and with Liverpool not playing until tomorrow evening, Manchester City could end the night just 1 point behind the league leaders. I wonder how Jurgen Klopp will approach tonight's City game. The Liverpool manager told us he won't get frustrated if they score because he expects them to win every game anyway.
For me, no difference. So if we say we win the game and then we are not interested in other results and stuff like that, how can we change the approach then in that situation? For me, it's not a difference. I've said it a few times since it's like this. I expect to win City every game, and I think I understand a little bit about football and makes sense that you think like this. And I don't sit in front of the television and think when they score or whatever. It's not like this. It's I really believe in you have to do your own work, and you have to do your own job if you want to have something, and don't be concentrated on other teams or whatever. It doesn't make sense and doesn't help on the other hand side. And I will not be, whatever result that will happen tonight, I expect to be 1 point up tomorrow before the game, and that doesn't bother me.
Well, he's got concerns for tomorrow because Virgil Van Dyke is a doubt for Liverpool's game with Leicester due to illness. He did train today and will be assessed by the club. He is the latest injury concern, though, on Jurgen Klopp's growing list.
Virgil Van Dyke, how is he? Dejan Lovren, will he be back? Fabinho, Trent, Wijnaldum and Joe Gomez.
Who we start with who? So Yes, Words was a little bit ill, and but he trained yesterday, so we will see. We'll train today, and then we will see. Ginny trained. Fabinho will train today. Trent getting closer and closer. Looks all very positive, but will not be ready for tomorrow. Ginny trained. I think I said. Mr. Wijnaldum was part of training.
And Joe Gomez as well.
Yeah, no.
So there are Manchester City on 56 points. Win tonight against Newcastle. They move to within 1 point of the leaders, Liverpool. And ahead of the game, Rafa Benitez claims it makes no sense to attack City, given their league position and risk of damaging their own goal difference. Guardiola, though, is expecting more from Benitez's side.
At the end, it's my imagination of what do I think is going to happen about Newcastle, but really I don't know. I'm not in the training session today in Newcastle to figure out what they're going to do. So, but I can imagine for the situation they are in the table, for what they have done in the past, they are going to defend deeper, and how you have to do to attack them.
It has no sense to have a go and lose 6-1 and be happy with that because we had a go, or lose 9-0. I know don't say that they said that, but you cannot do that because it's really bad for the confidence of your players. So you have to play games like we did against Manchester City.
Newcastle, the last 10-15 minutes in every game we played, when they were down, always they change the system and attack a lot. And I know Newcastle, the environment, the spectators, the stadium for itself is incredible.
If your players are much better than the other team, you will attack for sure. So I'm coming from top side when we were attacking and we were scoring goals. But at the same time, balance is the key. And this group of players, when they do what they have to do and when they work hard, like we work, we are quite strong, we are quite solid.
Now then, what do Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, Pep Guardiola and Carlo Ancelotti all have in common? Julian, you're right. Well, they are the only three managers to win their first 6 Premier League games, but tonight Solskjaer can become the first ever to win his first 7. 7! Manchester United were 11 points adrift off the top 4 when Solskjaer took over at United, but they will move level on points with fourth place Chelsea if they can win against Burnley at Old Trafford tonight. But Solskjaer insists the top 4 shouldn't represent success at United.
Being here is a great achievement. Of course, that's I've been asked to be here, but of course, the more you win, the more you feel good. The feel-good factor is getting better. We've done well, but it's not about being excited. I don't think...
No one gave United a chance of being in top 4.
No.
But, you know, because of that point gap.
Still a long way to go. It's great that we've picked up 8.
That's the dream though, right?
That's not the dream, though, to be top 4.
What is the dream then?
For Man United, you should always aim to win the league. So we can't do that this year, but we just got to look forward to that again because we have to get back to that.
So in terms of this
to the
season,
challenge.
that is the pinnacle of, you know, top 4 finish. That would be the dream, wouldn't it, for this season?
We got Champions League, we got the FA Cup. We can't just say top 4 and that's it. We've got to look at, can we win something this year?
Just a reminder, you can keep right up to date with all 6 of tonight's Premier League games, as well as matches in the Championship, League 1, League 2, and tonight's soccer special from 7:30 is on Sky Sports Premier League, and right here, of course, on Sky Sports News.
It's a dangerous thing to say that, you know, with 2 days to go, nothing will happen here, because things do tend to happen sometimes of quite, you know, serious interest in the last days of the transfer window.